This week we're going to talk about some new topics related to assembly. Okay, we can work on our project in assembly level that will help us to accelerate our modeling process. Okay, and the design process. Okay, design process and the modeling process are two different stages in your project, right? First, in most cases, if a part or a system need to be designed, then you need to do some calculation to achieve the functions, including the geometry and its motion and many others, right? And also, according to the stress, you need to determine not only just the geometry, but also the material and so on. Okay, there's a stage. Once you determine those geometry and the material and the manufacturing process and so on, then you are going to start to do modeling. Okay, this model will be used for you to consider the downstream work, for example, manufacturing, for example, assembly, maintenance, and so on. All right. Okay. So the modeling process in this stage, you will have most likely the dimensions and material manufacturing process are all determined, and very few modification of those components will be done in the next stage. All right. Okay. Of course, if you're going to do some modifications necessary when you put them together in assembly, you can still do that, but those are minor modifications. All right. So, however, if you already have some parts, for example, you can determine standard parts, and those standard parts, once you determine, selected what the standard is going to be used and what the type of, for example, screws you already selected, then you don't need to worry about its shapes, because the standards or specifications given will determine its geometry. Right. So then you only need to insert those standard parts in your system, and based on those standard parts, some parts, for example, screw holes, can be determined based on those standards. Right. So then you can use those standard parts to model your components which have been designed. Right. So in this way, if you make a model in assembly level, will help you to reduce your modeling time. Is that clear? If this is clear, please type 3. If you have any question, type 0. We can discuss. So what I'm saying here, in software, CAD software, you can make your model or even design. In the design process, you can work in assembly level. Okay. So then, how to load your assembly, reopen your assembly, and how to work in the assembly becomes very important and very helpful skills. Okay, so first we will look at the loading option, then we will see what is the work part, what is the display part, and how we can use mixed unit, and what is the mixed unit issue and how to deal with it. We will also look at two types of design. One is top-down, one is bottom-up assembly design. Then we will look at assembly layer, color, attribute, etc. To control our display. We will also look at wave geometry link, which is very helpful for us to connect or to make a smart model. And then last topic will be assembly column. Okay. Let's look at loading options. So loading options, when we open an assembly, we're talking about assembly, right? So not just a part, okay? Just not just a single part. When we load assembly, we have components, right? Let's switch to here. Let's say, here's some assembly. This main assembly, right? This is assembly. We're going to copy this Lab8 class and then try to open it. We can paste my corporate address. Hit OK, then we get this folder, right? So we're going to try to open this. So when this open dialog box is given, at here you can see we have several options. Right? Okay, so partial load, okay, fully load, partial load, fully load with lightweight display, and the partial load with lightweight display. Right. So lightweight display allow us to reduce the source being used. For example, reduce the CPU being used, reduce the graphic memory being used, and even RAM being used. Okay, so fully load will open everything. Okay, will open everything. Right. So let's see. By default is partial load, right? By default is partial load. So with this, your geometry will be displayed, but some attributes will not being accessed. All right. So and here we can see this option button here. If we click it, then we have load. Okay, load. So part version, load, scope, right, and the load behavior. We have a lot of settings here when you load this, when you open an assembly. Okay, when you open an assembly. So we are going to keep default at this moment. We only look at load. Okay, from folder. By default is from folder. This is a very important option, right? It determines in which directory you are going to look for the components included in your assembly. All right? Okay. So, can anybody tell me what is this for? I just said, right? Load. When we load. When we choose from which from folder as saved, from search folder, what has been what we're choosing? What do we select? What do we select? Anybody? What are we selecting? What do we select? No. Yes, this is the one. Okay, this is the one one way, right? We have three ways. Okay, we have three ways. We have three choice, right? So what does that mean? I say that again, right? This three choice determine how or how the components being found from the directories. Understand? Do you understand? Do you understand? Right? So as saved, if we use as saved, okay, select as saved, then the NX session, okay, the NX will find the components according to the information being saved in this file last time. Okay, you close it. All right. So it's not from. It's different from this one, from folder. If you're going to say, I'm going to use from folder. What does that mean? That means where you put the assembly, okay, file, then in the same folder, and next it's going to look at those components from the folder, from the same folder. All right? Okay. If you're going to use from search folder, okay, you put some folder in the list here. Then what's happening? Okay, if you have one folder being listed here, then it's going to find the components from this folder. Okay, from this folder. Okay, if you have other folder being put here, it will be searching for those components. First, look at this folder, and secondly, look at other folder, right? So we can add some folder, for example. For example, let me see. Okay, so just use download here. All right, you can see I add another folder here, right? I add another folder here. Okay, new folder. Okay, download new folder. Okay, I use this folder. So if I use this one from search folder, what does that mean? That means when we open this assembly, okay, then the components, the system will look at those components from this new folder first. If they cannot find this all the components, then they are going to look at the UGII folder. Okay, is that clear? Okay, understand, everybody? If this is clear, please type 4. Everyone, this is very important, right? You're going to tell the system, well, to look at those components, right? For example, if I say you have a project, you're going to make a dish, okay? So you're going to make say make a burger. Okay, you're going to make a burger. Then I can tell you in grocery store, in Costco, you can get a bun, and then if you go to Lab8, then you can get patty. Right. So I tell you where you can find those folders, where find those components. Or I can see you just get everything from Lab8. Or I can tell you you can get everything either from Lab8 or from Costco, right? So I can also tell you exactly which components you're going to pick up from each of the store. So different ways to find those components you want. Is that clear? I only received three responses so far. If this is clear, please type 4. Okay? Which way you're going to ask the next system to find the components can be determined by this one of these 3 options. Okay? It's very important. Okay, by default it's from folder. What does that mean? That means the system will find the components, all the components included in this assembly from the same directory where your component, your assembly file is being saved. Okay. So, okay, we just use this one for now. Okay, from folder, and a partial load also. If you check, okay, load structure only, we will try this. Okay, okay. What will happen? What will happen? No file, no components is actually being opened. Okay, being opened here, right? So you can see we don't see any geometry. However, the system do have some information where is roughly where the location is of each component. Okay, so those information being given. All right, so that's the situation. And also here is a sub assembly. This is a hop assembly. Okay, so this is a structure only, and you can see here we don't have any geometry in this assembly. So this assembly is actually master model assembly. Okay, master model assembly. Right. So here's the geometry. Right. So part navigator, we don't have anything included in this assembly level part file. Okay. So the geometries is included in this base, in this bar, in this head. Is that clear? Okay, so I'm going to close this for now. Okay, and I'm going to try to open this again. Instead of load the structure only. Okay, I'm going to use default partially load. Okay, partially load, but not with lightweight display. Okay, and you can see the load is from folder. Okay, it's going to find the components from the same folder where my assembly is being saved. Okay, so let me open it. Okay, this time you will see. Okay, you will see some components being opened, partially opened. Okay, however, you see the warning, right? Warning. This part, okay, this part, assembly part, when open this one, the following warnings are issued while loading. So, have part failed to find file using current search option. Part left unloaded. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. So you can see this one. Okay, this one cannot be found because what I'm doing here is the loading option is what? The loading option, assembly loading option, is from folder. That means the system will look at all the components listed here. Okay, 1, 2, 3 components. try to find this component from the same folder where my assembly being saved. Correct? Understand? In other words, what's the reason? In other words, because this component is not in this folder, so use this current loading option will not be able to, the system cannot find this component, so it's being remain unloaded. Is that clear? If it's clear, please type 5. If it's clear, please type 5. Everyone? I'm waiting for response, everyone. Do you have any question? Amir Kumar, Gaurav, Hardik, do you have any question? No? Okay. Amik Kumar, do you have any question? Gaurav, do you have any question? I think they are not in the class yet. Okay. All right. So to test. Give you a question. I want to use the from folder, and I want to be able to load this one using this from folder. What should I do? How can I open the file? How can I open the file? This head, right? Get this head being loaded. How? What I should do? I still want to use the from folder, right? What can I do? What can I do? Huh? Okay. So I don't think you can answer my question. I'm going to repeat this question again, right? So my question is, you can see this head is not being loaded, right? It says it's not in this folder. So how I can get this being loaded? If I'm going to do this again, right? I'm going to close this one and try to open this assembly, right? I still use from folder. So anyway, in which way, what I need to do to get all the components being opened? Huh? Does anybody have a solution? Can tell me what I should do? Anybody tell me what I should do? If you understand what does that mean from folder, if you understand from folder, what does that mean? Then you should be able to give me a solution. What's the solution? Anyone? Type of files or files? What does that mean? Elementary, do you know what I should do to solve the problem? So we know this file is in this folder, right? Okay. So what I need to do? Okay, let me explain this again, right? So when I choose from folder, when I open this file, this assembly, the system will find all the components from the same folder where the assembly being saved. Now, file is here, the base is here, so we can load this. However, this head is not in the same folder. So, what I should do? We should have this head. We should have this head included in this folder, correct? You got it. So copy the file to here. We need to include this head in here. Do you agree? Everybody, is that correct? So Rob says copy the file to this folder. Do you agree? Right? So I should make sure. Okay, I should make sure this file is being included in the same folder as my assembly folder. Okay, that's the meaning. Right? Once I have it, I can open this assembly, use the same option, right? Okay, now the head is being loaded. Is that clear? Is that clear? If it's clear, please type 6. If it's clear, please type 6. If you have a question, type 0. So when you open assembly and use from folder, then what you need to do is to make sure you have all components being put in the same folder. Okay? All right? Okay. Then we solve the problem. However, why do we have different options here? Why do we have different options here? Huh? Why do we have different? Okay. So as saved. Okay. So if I'm going to say I'm going to close this one. Okay. I'm going to close the part. I'm going to. Okay. This time I'm going to delete it. Okay. Delete it. Okay. So, and I'm going to open this file. Okay, but from the loading option, I'm not be able to do so. Right? What I can do here, I can open file from this folder. Okay, from this folder. Let me open it. Okay, this head is being opened, and it is not in this folder. Right? It's not in this folder. Okay, it's not in the same folder as assembly. Understand? So, however, the system got this part. So what we can do here, I can load it. Right? I can load it. Now I can close this one. Okay, I'm going to close this one. And this time I'm going to save my assembly. Right? Save my assembly. Okay, so I'm going to save my assembly. All right, so when I close it, When I close it, then what's happening? I'm going to open this assembly again. Okay, this time not from the folder, right? From the folder. This time I'm going to add saved. Okay, add saved. So when I save the file, the assembly file, when I save the assembly file, then all the information about the components being opened is also saved, stored in this assembly, right? So I open it, even though this head is not included in the from folder because assembly remembers where each of the components is located. So we'll be able to find them. You got it? If this is clear, please type 8. When you save an assembly, we did not save this one, right? We did not save this head, bar, base. If you look at it here, okay? So you can see bar, base, last modified is last year, right? It's last year. And assembly just being modified. And also, head is not being modified either, okay? So only this one, okay? Only this one is being modified. We saved it, right? We saved this information. So the system try to use the information being saved in the assembly to find your components, even though it is not in the same folder. Okay, that's the meaning. Okay, that's the meaning. All right. So once you have those information, then next time you open it, then the system will use the information being saved the last time to find your components. Okay, this is loading option as saved. Any questions so far? Right. Okay. I'm going to close this one. Look at the last option. Okay, last option is what? The last option is from search folder. Okay, from search folder. So you can include. Okay, you can include a folder if you know where the location is. Okay, so I'm going to delete this folder. Download the new folder is not what I'm looking for. I can get the folder. Document. Winter. I think I saved it here. Download. Oh, sorry. No, not there. Document. Advanced modeling. Here. Lab. Here. Right. So what I can do, I can include this. So I know my head is included here, right? So hit OK. Right. So this time, I get this assembly head, right? I can also include this one, main. Okay. All right. So this two, okay? This two, correct? So then hit OK. Then that means you're going to from search folder. From this folder, and this folder, right? I'm going to leave. We know there's nothing included. there's no component included in this UGI. I just want to keep this default setting here. Okay, so you can see, right? So then the system will find the components in this assembly main and in this assembly head. Okay, so hit OK. Then this file, hit OK. You see, I tell the system where to look at those components, right? Where to look at those components. Then the system will go to executive directory to look at those components. Is that clear? If it's clear, please type 9. If it's clear, please type 9. If you have a question, type 0. Okay, so this is 3 options. Okay, 3 options, and you may notice. Okay, you may notice when we talk about there's 3 UGI ... Okay, if you want to include the subfolder, if you want to search not just this folder but also the subfolder and subfolder, okay, all the content in this directory, then you can put 3 dot, okay, after the directory name. Then it will look at the subfolder and the subfolder and so on. Okay, basically, if I put here dot, right? No, option dot. Okay, then let me delete this one. Delete this one. Then what does that mean? That means we include both directory and this open assembly. Okay, so we will be able to open this file without any problem. Okay, so you can see here, right? Dot. So this two subdirectory subfolder in open assembly file folder all included, right? So if I open it, then I should be able to get it. Okay, is that clear? If it's clear, please type 1. Okay. If I'm not sure about my folder, right, or where the folder is, where the components located in the folder, then I can use this one. Okay. Here's another thing. I have a question. If I put instead of here, if I put this one, can I do that? If I open this one, can we do that? What will happen? I can still open it, right? Okay, that means we're going to search for the components in my hardware. That's right. It will take a lot of time. Load. What else? What's other problem? What is other problem? What is other problem? What is other problem? What's the other problem? If, say, If I'm going to say I have a file here, I have a file here, then I have two heads. Which one is going to be opened? Huh? That's right. We have same name, but in different directory. What will happen? We don't know exactly which file being opened, right? That's a risk. Okay? So, we usually don't do that, right? We usually don't do that. Okay? But it is possible, okay? It is possible. Something you can do it, but doesn't mean it's correct. Okay? Doesn't mean it's correct. I think I need to change the option. I didn't make it this one directory. Slash. Slash. Okay. All right. Let me try again. All right. Try again. You see, it takes a very long time. Okay. It takes a very long time. Okay. All right. So that's a two problem we may see. Okay. So don't do that. Right. Don't do that. If you can, specify your directory as precise as possible. Okay. Any questions so far? If there's no question, I'm going to stop here. Right. So this is not the correct way to do it. I just want to demo. Okay, do a demonstration. So by default, it's from folder. Okay, why we don't just use from folder? Why? Why? You do want to organize your file, right? Think about a Boeing flight, right? 747, 737, right? How many components? How many parts do you have? Do you just want to put in one directory? Maybe not, right? So each department, or even each of your, you may have thousands of components, right? Thousands of subsystems even, right? So each of your team is going to have your own components working on. So you want to organize in the different directory and then put them together. Okay, will be well organized. So in this way, you do need to from folder, okay, from each of the folder, and then later on you can put them together. Okay, so that's why we don't want to put everything in just one directory. Same here. I often tell my students, do not put everything on your desktop. Organize your work in a more organized way, right? So, okay, that's for this. Okay, loading options, right? We look at the loading options. It's a very important topic. Okay, I spend a lot of time on it, right? Okay, so you're going to practice as well. Okay, you're going to practice those as well. Then we are going to look at the work part, display part, and using this assembly. Okay, using this assembly. Look at it here. You see here. Okay, here. Remember. Okay, the top assembly is always your display part. Okay, your display part is always at the top of your assembly navigator. Okay, understand? Is that clear? Your display part is always on the top of your assembly navigator. Okay, and each of this one you can make work part. When it's being make work part, then it's being highlighted. Okay, being highlighted, and then part navigator shows the content, the geometries. All right. So, for example, this part. Okay, make this work part. Then the other will be gray out, and then this you can see. Right. So, and you can see here, right, bar dot PRT in assembly. Okay. So, okay, this way you can work on your each individual component in assembly level. Okay. All right. Is that clear? If it's clear, please type 2. Remember, right? You display part is always at the top of your assembly navigator. Okay. So we can also make this one. Okay. We can also make one display part. Okay. So for example, we can open here. Okay. Then you can see this is my display part. Okay. This is my display part. Right. Okay. You got it? This is my display part. Okay. The bar is my display part, and in assembly navigator, it is on the top of my assembly navigator. It's bar. Okay. In this window, the display part is my assembly. Okay, the assembly. In this window, okay, is my bar. Okay, which is a sub-assembly in here. Okay, in sub-assembly in here. Okay, all right. So make sure you understand the difference between work part and display part. Okay. All right. Then once you understand the display part, then you can select. Okay, you can select understand this. Then you can select the selection scope is related to your work part and display part. Okay. Okay. So here I'm going to ask now, what is my work part? What is my work part? What is my work part? Anybody tell me what is my work part? What is my work part? Anyone? That's right. This assembly is my work part, right? Okay. How about here? What is my work part? Bar. What is my assembly part? What is my display part? What is my display part? What is my display part? Huh? Edge blend? Edge blend is a feature. This is a part navigator. But work part and display part are both bar, right? Both bar, right? Both they are same, right? My display part and the work part are the same in this case, and also in this case, right? So now, what is my display part now? What is my display part? Huh? What is my display part? What did I say? Where is it? Where is the location of your display part? What did I say? The display part is always at the top of what? You need to remember this, all right? the display part is always at the top of the assembly navigator. You must remember this, okay? You must remember this. The display part is always at the top of the assembly navigator. Okay, now tell me, in this case, what is my display part? Huh? What is my display part? Rob says assembly, but he's not sure. Alan Creed says assembly. How about others? So if you want to determine what is assembly navigate, what is display part, where are you looking? Oh, where are you looking for? What are you looking for? You look at the top. Which one is at the top of assembly navigator, right? So what is on the top of the assembly navigator? Assembly, right? So can I say assembly navigate? Assembly is my display part. Can I say that? Right? Right? The display part is always at the top of the assembly navigator, right? Okay. All right. So I changed my work part. I changed my work part. Doesn't mean I changed my display part. Okay. Is that correct? Okay. I can make different components to be my work part. So that means you are in on the campus. Okay, then you are still on the campus. If you come from computer lab to your to say cafeteria, you're still on campus, right? Okay, it's still in the on campus. You are not going out of the campus. Okay, you are in a different way. You are working in a different area, but you are still on the campus. All right. So that's the situation. Right. Okay. All right. Work part. There's one thing here, right? You need to remember, right? Display part and the work part must be the same unit. Okay? Right? If we look at it here, so let's look at let's open this file. Let's open this file. Okay, and then you can here, right? Okay, so if we look to here, okay, so information parts, loaded parts. Okay, loaded parts. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, this is assembly. This is sub-assembly. This is components. Okay, so we can look at the units, right? We can look at the units. They're all millimeters, right? They're all millimeters, right? So because they are all millimeters, this is assembly. So this is the display part. So if I double click it, I can make it assembly. This space as a work part. I can make this one work part. I can make this one work part because they are all in the same unit millimeter. Okay, so this is the situation. All right. Okay, understand? You need to remember this rule. Okay, display part and work part must be the same units, right? Understand? Is that clear? Okay, so when I open this file, so I'm just use as saved, right? As saved. It will be easier for me. Okay. Right, you can see I can make this one work part. I can make this one work part. I can make this one work part, right? So if I'm going to go to information, work part, loaded parts, okay, you can see all of them are in millimeters, right? All of them in millimeters, right? Right? Okay, let me close this one for now. And then let me open another file, unit. So I'm going to make this one. Assembly. Let me change this assembly to from folder, right? From folder, okay. And then, okay, I got my folders. Okay, I got all my components. So if you look at it here, look at the information parts, loaded parts, right? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 components, 5 files, right? And the last one is in inches, right? The rest are in millimeters, right? So head in is in inches. Okay, so if I'm trying to make this work part, it will not, right? Components is of different unit than the display part, right? What is the display part? Can anybody tell me what is display part? What is display part? Anybody tell me what is my display part now? What is my display part? Assembly, correct. Okay, and it is in millimeter, right? What is work part? Top of the assembly navigator is display part. You got it, correct. What is my work part? Rob says highlighted part is work part. Which one? Tell me the name. Same as my display part, right? Assembly, correct. So now, what is my display part? Now what is my display part? It's still assembly, right? What is my work part? What is my work part? Head, correct? So I can make head my work part. I can make my base work part. I'm going to make bar work part, okay? I try to make head underscore in my work part. It gives me this information, right? The component is of different unit than the display part. So cannot be made work part. Okay, that's the problem. All right, so that's the situation. So based on the information given here, we should be able to make, so you can see, right, display part and work part must be the same unit. So because assembly is my display part, okay? If my display part is in millimeter, and the head in is in inches. So we cannot make this one as work part. Okay, in this situation, what can I do? We can either make solution will be, okay, the solution will be either in my situation, the solution will be one, change the part at in part to millimeter. Make sense? Make sense? Correct? If this part is in millimeter, we should be able to make its work part. Do you understand? correct? So, if you agree, please type 3. If you agree, please type 3. If you have a question, type 0. Right? What's the second solution? What's the second solution? What's the second solution? Instead of modify my head underscore inch, what we can do? What can we do? We can make the display part being inches, correct? Make the display part to be inches. Correct? Do you agree? If you agree, please type 4. Okay. So how to change the part to millimeter? What we can do here? What we can do here is to use this UG convert underscore part. Okay. Right. So what we can do here? I'm going to show you here. So this one, right? This one. I'm going to copy this one. Okay, copy this one. Okay, copy this one to here. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to change this one. Okay. So it will be UGII, right? UGII. So what? I'm going to copy this one. Okay. I'm going to copy this head inch to here. Okay. So I think there's a video. Okay. Here's a video. Let me see if I can open it. Okay, different units, right? So it's in inches, right? It is in inches, right? So we're going to create a common parent which has the same unit, okay? Has the same unit as that part. Okay. All right. Then in this way we will be able to make this one to be my work part. Okay? You got it? If this clear, please type 5. This is the second solution, right? We list it here, right? Okay, so you're going to do this in your lab activity as well, right? You are going to practice as well. This is one solution. It's the second solution, okay? We're going to use UGII convert, okay? UG convert, okay? UG convert. It is in directory, right? UGI directory. It is in UGI directory. Okay, so and then give the name, right? So what is the first thing being done is to load UGII in memory. Okay, got it? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Okay, command prompt. Okay, command prompt, right? So you're going to do cd c c program file, right? Siemens, and next 11. Mine is 12, right? 12. UGII. Okay, and then we program file Siemens. So so it should be a next pin, I think. UG convert. This one, right? It's actually here. Okay, it's actually here. So okay, so let me cd. Use a quotation. Okay, use this quotation mark. Control V, copy, right, and hit enter. Okay, you are not be able to do this, okay, without quotation because there's space. Okay, because there's space, right? Okay, so now UG convert hot. Okay, so you can see it's being loaded here. Okay, it's being loaded here. All right, so now you can see okay, once this is being loaded, we should be able this command. Okay, UGII. Okay, it's wrong. Okay, the exe file being wrong in here, then it's being stored in the RAM. Okay, in RAM. So it's being used here. So you can keep use this one even if you're in different directory. Okay, let me try this. Okay, then it's going to be lab mix unit new folder. Okay, I'm going to say copy this one. Remember, okay, remember what is being modified, right? It is being modified last year, right? So I'm going to go to here, cd, okay, right? So all right. So now I'm going to say UG convert convert ERT and then millimeter, right? So head into part. Okay, UG convert part is now recognized as an internal, so I'm not be able to use it in a different directory, right? So I still need to go to UGII, next bin. Okay, so CD C program CD C program Siemens and next 12 and next bin and next bin UG convert. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say UG convert. You can use, the tab key to find the, so I can type UG_CON and then use tab to find my file I want to run, okay? And then use the full directory, okay? Give the full directory. So I'm going to say, if you simply use this, okay? If you simply without this one, right? If you just use this one and EAD in.prt, you can see, okay, too many files specified. Why? Because you have space here. Okay, you have space here, right? The space make this one to be two streams. Okay, two streams. You will not be able to do that. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to put a quotation here. Oops. I'm going to put quotation mark. Right? Then this can be considered as a single directory. And if I hit H, it helps me to find the file. And if I hit OK, it will happen. Okay, one file successfully converted. All right, so let's see. In this folder, you can see, right? It's been modified. Okay, just been modified. Okay, now what I can do here, then in this one, I'm going to close this one. Okay, close the part, and then I'm going to load this part from a different directory from here. Okay, now if I load this one again and look at the information, loaded part. Okay, now this one, okay, this one is millimeter now. Is that clear? If it's clear, type 6. If you have any question, type 0. Okay, remember, right? Remember? That's why I ask you, do not use underscore or use minus sign or dash. Okay, you see this dash have different meaning. Okay, do not use space or dash in your file name or directory name. Never ever. Okay. If you use space or use dash, you make a trouble when you use this command prompt. Okay, run this DOS command. Okay, sometimes we call this DOS command. Okay, so any questions so far? So no question. Type 8. If there are any questions, type 0. Everybody. Okay, that's for this. Okay, that's for today's lecture. Any? Then you can. Okay, so here's the top-down and bottom-up assembly. There's a different way to help us to do design job, right? Top-down, bottom-up design. Usually, you determine your this is design directory, right? Design direction. Usually, you get all your components being designed first, and then your whole assembly, the whole system will be determined. Okay, will be determined later on after you verify all your components or sub-assembly. Okay, so top-down design process, you have general information or general information about your whole system first, and then you determine you get a good idea about your system first, and then you determine your individual components, right? So this is start from the whole system to individual components. It's called the top-down design process. Okay, sometimes mix them together. Okay, so it's not a problem. Okay, so in the modeling process, you can also do this, right? You can also do this. And top-down assembly design. Usually, you work on your components in assembly level, but bottom up, you make a 3D model for each component first, and then once you complete, then you put them together as assembly, right? So different approach. As individual component, as an individual part, we can also have assembly layer, color, attribute, and so on. So you can use this to complete your to modify your part displacement and make it clean. Okay, you're going to practice those. Reference set is another way to organize what you're going to display. By default, you have entire parts. It will display everything. Okay. Second one is model. Only the bodies will be displayed. The curves and other such as sketches will be hidden. Okay. The empty will display nothing. Okay, will display nothing. You can add, edit, or remove some of your reference set. Add some element in the reference set, and then show different displays. Okay. With geometry link is another way. Allows you to make a copy different geometry elements or feature elements from one part to another part in assembly level. Okay. Once your original feature being changed, then the copied one or with geometry link will also update it once it's opened again. Okay. Assembly cloning allows you to clone a whole assembly, right? So to work on a different project. In In industry, there are some version or some different version of the project or similar product will be made with very few modifications. However, they are different, right? So in this way, your modification can be done based on the original project. Then this clone assembly becomes valuable. Okay, you are going to practice on your in your assignment. Okay. All right. This is what we're going to do. All the topics covered in this week. Any questions so far? If no question, type 9. If any question, type 0. Lots of information, right? Lots of information. So I hope this can help you to understand better about the assembly as a whole. So you can look at it, right? All right. Hope this can help you to complete your lab activity and assignment. If you have any question, I'll be here to help you. While you are working on your lab activity, I'm going to check attendance. Okay. When you hear your name, tap 7 for your attendance. Okay. Yan. Oh, sorry. I think this is section 2. Ayan Kalas. Ayan Kalas, thank you. Alan Creek. Thank you. Horseshit. Summit. Arctic. Thank you. Caustic. Rough. Mik Kuma. Yunus. Grishma. Oh. All right. I think I got everyone. Thank you. Now you can work on your lab activity. Right. So any questions regarding your lab activity and marks and so on?